Hey guys, it's Kat, and right now I'm actually recording a live stream. Recently, I've decided to release the tier for my live streaming, and if you're interested in catching me recording live streams that are going to then be edited later, the way that you can do that is by joining my Spark tier, which is brand new on my YouTube channel. And I really appreciate those of you guys who have gone over and joined members and decided to join me for these streams. I'm still currently honing in on a schedule. I'm still currently honing in on the correct time to do these live streams. Right now, I'm recording this at 11 o'clock at night, PST time. There's probably no one up to see this, but I promise that I will eventually pick a much earlier time and I will commit to a schedule, but we are still figuring that out right now. But anyway, in this video, we are going to be reacting to a man who got really angry that another man was in the bathroom with him. I'm a trans woman and I've been having a lot of conversations about the various debate about the bathrooms, and it's honestly hitting a certain point because we're now in the middle of this fascist regime that definitely wants people like me to withdraw from public life. And I wanted to watch this video because I think it highlights something that a lot of people do not quite understand at the root of the bathroom debate. So I've actually seen this content creator a few times. I am not super familiar with them, but the one thing I will say is that they are always turning looks, always looking good, always looking very vibrant, very bodacious. And I'm very sad to see that this happened to them on New Year's Eve. Apparently they went to this party and had this confrontation with a guy in the bathroom at the New Year's Eve party.
Yeah, take a fucking picture of me.
Oh, take a video. Say what you're just saying to me.
Yeah, I don't like a dude with fucking, show your face, fucking curls on his eyes. Yeah, I don't like this shit. In a men's bathroom, showing your fucking chest like a girl, like a fucking girl, dressed like a girl, fucking belly button, fucking rings like a girl.
You know what, too? I used the stall because I didn't want any fucking problems.
Because you're a fucking bitch. You're a fucking
What?
And the thing is, they don't want transgender women. I'm not transgender, by the way, but they don't want transgender women to use the women's bathroom. They don't want gay men to use the men's bathroom. I guess I'll just piss on the floor.
Why don't you just go to the girls' bathroom?
Because I'm a fucking boy.
Exactly. So why you just?
You got
followers. Come on, let me get in this shit.
See, they're so cute and fun. I don't know.
Yeah, take a fucking picture of me.
So that was wild. The thing that this video really highlighted is that these people don't really care about what they say they care about. And what's aggravating to me about the bathroom conversation is that this is a perfect example of what I've tried to talk about over the years, about how these bathroom conversations, we're talking about trans women, we're painting the specter of trans women in the women's restroom abusing, women and girls as like the justifiable reason for trans women not being in the women's restroom. But the reality here is that this is actually all about gender essentialism and assimilation. Well, I'll be really honest with you guys. I've been talking about trans bathroom shit for so long. Oh my God, trans bathroom shit. That's a great band name. It is one of those conversations that's always really weird to me because I've been using the women's restroom for most of my life. I'm 35 years old. It is a non-issue. No one gives a fuck that I use the women's restroom. In fact, when I go to a place and I ask them where I can go to use the restroom, they point me to the women's restroom. They always do. And that's not just a woke liberal California thing. That's literally everywhere I go. People want to make it about something that it isn't. They say, well, you have to have the right parts in order to go into the women's restroom. But it's not really about that. And I've always brought that up because no one's really looking at parts. Like, I think the thing that's actually kind of ironic about this conversation is that a lot of times these are conversations that are hosted by men who have never been in the women's restroom. And so they imagine that we're like looking at each other's genitalia and stuff in the bathroom. But like usually what happens is you go into a stall, you do your do, you leave. That's it, right? And what's a little interesting to me about this is that what have we seen since these laws have gone into effect? We've seen men barge into the women's restroom, corner women, and force them to do what they want them to do. That's the reality of it. And if you've followed a couple of these stories of women who have been accosted in the women's restroom, you'll notice a very particular pattern. Most of the stories that I've personally heard are about lesbian women, often butch lesbian women, who are in public with their partner.
They came in here in the girls' restroom because I'm a girl and they didn't think I was a girl. So they try to come take me away because I'm a girl.
Most of the time, that's what the story is about. It's about a person who is very visibly not assimilating into gender. And what I wish some of the keep the T out of the LGB folks understood is that you may not understand your sexuality as gender non-conformity, but these people do. These people see you being a woman who's attracted to a woman as you violating the contract of your gender assignment. They may pretend that they're okay with it. They may pretend that they're fine with it, but they're not. These people fucking hate gay people. And they hate gay people largely because they view them as violating the contract of gender. And they may use you to get you to vote against us. I'm thinking about, there's a little homosexual on TikTok with the nails, clicking and clacking, He always thinks that he's special. He's one of the good ones. But no, girl, you're a too. No offense or whatever. It is a little much. It is a little much. And really what this is, you'll notice that there was this guy who, if I'm assuming I could be projecting, maybe this is wrong of me to project onto this young gentleman, probably gets socially ostracized, probably experiences some degree of social ostracization in his daily life. But in this moment where this man is attacking this other man for not assimilating into gender, this person who wouldn't typically be accepted can feel like he's gaining a bit of proximity to this guy's masculinity by joining in on the bullying, by joining in on the harassment. And it's in that way that people imagine that if they attack people in this particular way, if they accost people in this particular way, well, it's just going to all work out for them. They're finally going to find their position in the patriarchy. This is all this idea that women need to perform gender a certain way, and of course men need to perform gender a certain way in order to satisfy the gender hierarchy, where of course men are above women. That's why it's men who are often barging into the women's restroom to accost these women who, again, from my observation, are predominantly butch lesbian women. And speaking of butch lesbian women, there was a video that I saw. It was a butch woman who went to a town hall meeting and asked the question, basically, what about us? What about us? What about people like me who are not transgender, but are masculine?
I'm required to carry my birth certificate to the restroom every time I have to go to prove that, hey, just because I have short hair or maybe I'm wearing athletic clothes or something and somebody's going to say, hey, you don't belong here, but I do? Is there anything that is here to protect such individuals?
No. There is here to protect biological females.
Yes, exactly. And so that's what I am.
Well, if you use the correct bathroom, we should be fine.
I do. But you're not answering my question. Would I be required to carry my birth certificate to the restroom every time I have to go to prove that, hey, just because I have short hair or maybe I'm wearing athletic clothes or something and somebody's going to say, hey, you don't belong here, but I do? Is there anything that is here to protect such individuals?
No. There is here to protect biological females.
It was always going to go that way. Now, I want to show you a clip of apparently what happened before he was accosted in the restroom. Hey! Yes, the core. And the thing is, right? These guys, right? They see what happens when someone like this is in the room. There's a true beauty in embracing yourself. There's a true beauty in actually withdrawing completely from this patriarchal messaging, this sort of pressure that you're under to maintain a certain image and to play a certain role. It's freedom. And I think that that's what scares most people about people who are gender variant, right? Because for a lot of people, it is the fact that someone could recognize all of society's pressure and still choose to be themselves that is so terrifying. It requires great strength to be a person who doesn't assimilate. It really does. And I know that cishet folks who are bigots never really like to understand that, but I think they know it. I think they know it deep inside. Look at all of the people surrounding him right now. Look at all of the people, saying, yay, all this other shit, right? And I think a big part of this, let's go back to the video. I think a big part of this is that this guy was attracted to him. And that's another layer of it, right? He's pointing at his face and saying, look at all these pearls. You got a shirt open. You've got all this shit. You're trying to look like a girl. None of these things have to do with being female. He's pointing at all of these things that are overt gender performances that are typically associated with women that men like to interpret as being for them. Now, he's wearing tears full of pearls, right? You could say that this is makeup that straight men definitely don't like. But because it's makeup, it's supposed to be satisfying the straight men. It's supposed to be there to placate straight men. And that's the way that a lot of men understand their positioning in this society, right? They think everything feminine is there for me to consume. There's so many times I'm just out there existing as myself, being who I am, and men will just come up to me and share their opinions. I'll never forget, this guy looked at my nails and he was like, oh no, goth girls need to have small, pointy, but classy black nails. And I said, bitch, I'm going to have whatever fucking nails I want because it's my body, my fucking rules. And in a patriarchy, men don't really like to look at things that way. That's why they're trying to control women's bodies, right? That's why they're trying to police the gender of other men. And really, I hope that this guy who accosted him in the bathroom finds himself. I really do. Apparently, his family has a cafe or something. Of course, people ended up doing what they do and figuring out where this guy lives, and they got all of his information and all this other shit. I'm not going to comment on whether or not he deserves that, but I will say that it really is free for you to mind your own damn business. You don't have to choose to make someone's day worse because of your feelings of insecurity and inferiority. And that's ultimately what this is. That's ultimately what gender policing in general is, in my opinion. This constant bit of inferiority, this false platform based in very, very shaky foundation. So I just wanted to share my thoughts about that. I thought that I would share my thoughts as a transgender woman. I will continue to be using the women's restroom. Not sorry about it, babe. That's the restroom that I am directed to. And frankly, this video kind of reinforces my decision to do that. On that note, let me know what you guys have to say about this particular video. And as per usual, please give me your thoughts and reflections in the box below. Like I said, this is a live stream that I've edited down. This was a members only live stream, but I do live streams for everyone. I do live streams as I get ready. So if you want to get notified for that, subscribe to my YouTube channel. On that note, if you support what I do, please check me out on Patreon. Patreon is also where I upload exclusive content. The difference between Patreon and YouTube is really that on Patreon, I upload a lot of very personal stuff. I upload a lot of vlogs and things. I've got vlogs for my lowest members and vlogs for my more higher members. There's some stuff I'm comfortable sharing with everyone. There's some stuff that I only feel like sharing with certain people. So if you guys like that stuff, please check over to my Patreon. It is a huge help and I would really appreciate it. Anyway, on that note, I will talk to you guys next time. And as per usual, I want you to always remember and to never forget that you are beautiful and you are loved. Bye.